Hey guys, Kyle from Kolpin Training. So instead of our regular intro today, what I'm going to do is spend a second talking to you guys about something that just recently happened in my life. Dear friend, someone I would consider a bit of a mentor and also idolized in the sport has passed. John Meadows, at 49, went to sleep peacefully the other night and did not wake up. A sad day for bodybuilding, as he did impact a lot of bodybuilders, physique athletes, competitors in general, with his positive mentalities, his approach to bodybuilding and winning. More than anything though, John was exceptional at being a father. Everything that he did great in this sport, he did better as a dad to his twin boys. So just like to take a second before this video and send my absolute best to Mary and the boys. Words can't really define what you're going through, and from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. We all mourn with you.
You can't stop me now. I'm gonna get mine. You can't stop me now. You can't stop me now. You can't stop me now.
So today's video is going to be all about positive mentalities, but also we're going to define what that winner's mentality is. You know, there are a lot of athletes have been very, very successful having this kind of mentality. You know, your Larry Birds, your Kobe Bryant, your Tom Brady. We're going to go over what it takes to be a champion and what kind of mindset you have to have and where your heart has to be moving forward in order to be as successful as possible. What I will say before anything is, you know, in order to be successful and be that real champion, you have to be one of those people that just doesn't make excuses for the things that they're looking to achieve. At the end of the day, I mean, if you're gonna cry about this or cry about that or hear the reasons why not or why I can't do things, you're never gonna push yourself beyond that point in order to be successful. See, a real champion takes responsibility for those things, accepts them, and then starts to find ways in which they can better themselves, which they can grow and become better athletes so they can overcome those challenges later down the road. You know, they also have to have a certain acceptance of failure. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, in the eye of failure, you have to see that as a positive thing, something that can teach you to be better, push you to be better. Failure can't ruin your mind. You can't approach something, fail, and then take 10 steps back, start to be negative, look at things, you know, or look at yourself in the mirror and say, I can't do these things, or I failed once and therefore it's impossible. See, a real champion's gonna look at that and they're gonna tell themselves, here's a challenge, here's something that beat me. How do I better myself? How do I grow more in order to beat that next time, so that a year down the road, the things that I found to be challenging today that I thought were impossible, we're in the rearview mirror and we're on to the next thing. You know, but what is winning if not forward progression, right? You know, you're not a loser for missing that free throw with 2 seconds left. No. When Kawhi Leonard did that in Toronto, great moment by the way, he didn't make that shot out of sheer luck. I know what you're thinking, okay? It looked like a lucky shot, but it wasn't a lucky shot. See, Kawhi had to spend hours upon hours making that shot and shots just like it, missing those shots and shots just like it. You know, it's like Michael Jordan used to say, I needed to go in there and miss 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 free throws before I started getting good and landing those. You know, and for all those times that I missed, I got that one that I got, that one buzzer beater that won the game. But if I didn't sit there and shoot and miss and then force myself to get better at those shots, I wouldn't have made that one. So it's the things that you see behind the curtains that tend to build the champions. And for us as competitors, when we're here in the bodybuilding realm, you have to understand that our victories happen in the growth season. All that time working up to a show, putting on muscle, filling out our structure. It's not won and lost when you get close to show. Don't get me wrong, you want to be shredded. But let's get serious right now. If anyone really accepts that they need to suffer in order to succeed, and they're willing to do that, they're gonna get pretty ripped. Okay, cold hard math. As much as we like to look at it and think that dieting is the hardest part, it's the easiest, okay? You sit around, you don't do anything because you don't want to waste any energy, and you eat a minimal amount of food until showtime comes around. Then you fill yourself up with a whole bunch of clean foods, I hope. I mean, most athletes these days tend to turn to garbage, which I never really understood. You kind of want to stick with the things that got you there, but when you get there and you're full because you had 10 pounds on you, 12 pounds on you that you built in the off season, not because you were getting lean. So in this sport and other sports, but this one uniquely as well, you've got to really want to grind in order to win. So if you don't have that mentality, that little switch that goes off in your brain that tells you to go beyond what we consider human potential, it's never going to happen for you. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people have the genetics, other people don't have the genetics. Some people without the genetics can still make it to that upper echelon without that fire, man, that work ethic, that need. It's not a want for them, it's a need. And they're able to thrive themselves to go beyond that point. But for most of us, what it all breaks down to is that work ethic, right? What are we putting in between the moment we open our eyes and then the next day when we open our eyes? See, it's not when we open and when we close, right? Because everything that we do within those breathable eye-open moments, all of that translates into our sleep, which is detrimental, right? If we get that REM on point, and we have to be thinking this, is our REM on point? Are we sleeping deep enough? Are we sleeping enough? And how productive are the mitochondria within our body when our brain is kind of shut down or on sleeper mode and helping our body heal? Because ultimately that's when we grow. We're not going to grow training 7 days a week, 6 days a week. Most of us not even 5 days a week, right? And we need to be within that caloric surplus. But in the same breath, not so much that we're dulling other functions of the human body, and yet in the same extent, so much that we're always making those little steps forward. A lot of clients ask me, well, what are those steps forward? And it could be as simple as you've done one more rep than you did the week before. Maybe you've done 5 more pounds. Maybe you've eaten 5 more calories. Maybe those calories come from carbs, but you know what? Maybe they've come from fats. Maybe you're too low on those. And now we're improving hormonal function. So there's a lot of things that go into play for that. And we need to be as uniquely perfect for our own body in order to thrive forward. But the interesting part is you can never really define what your perfect for your own body is, because you will almost always accept that to be within this square, this realm of comfort. And you're not going to supersede that until you step outside the box. And if you're not willing to get outside of that box, this probably isn't the sport for you. But that being said, that upper echelon of every sport probably isn't for you. And I mean, whether you're golfing, playing in the NBA, playing in the NFL, you're a professional boxer, figure skater even, bodybuilder, something has to happen up here that forces you to continuously press forward. A champion only loses his belt when it gets into his head or her head, and it tells them, I've made it, I'm the best. Don't get me wrong, confidence, 99% of the game. If you're not confident in yourself, you're not going to supersede. But it comes with a flaw. And that flaw is the minute you find yourself accepting yourself as great, you lose that edge. And it's that edge that your competition has, because they're crawling in the dirt to come after your title. And they're not going to stop, because they've told themselves that stop is no longer part of their vocabulary. It is not, by definition, something that their heart will let them do. And when the mind is connected to the heart, and the mind is controlling the body, and the body is feeding the system, you have a blueprint for a champion. But it's a fragile blueprint, because it's only at its absolute best for that individual when that individual understands that even at the top of the hill, you've got to be the nastiest mother on the planet. Because if you're not, and you're not displaying that in your actions, not your words, word talk is cheap. If it's not in your actions, that will never convey forward. People won't trust you. You won't trust yourself. And those fractions of a second where you're not in that right mind frame and you're not pushing to thrive, the guy or the girl behind you is. And you're gonna lose that ground. So, champion mentality here, what does it come down to? You have to have that will to keep pushing forward without stop. And sometimes that's regardless of what consequences could be at the end of the rainbow. It's unfortunate, but it is true. So never forget, guys, if you want to go beyond, if you want to push yourself to that higher echelon, that greatness, starts here, flows through here, actions come through here. I'm Kyle from Kolpin Training. We're here at Pure Muscle and Fitness version 2.0. Take care. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Bye-bye.